Cheerio, bonjour. Thank you for seeing me. So I want to talk about this 19-year-old child. I mean, I struggle with that. At 19, I knew what was going on. She's not still legally a child. I really regret even just saying that. This 19-year-old girl, Alexe Traviso, her mother called her Lexi. They lived in a very, very, very small town in New Mexico, and in a moment I'll tell you how little the town was. I assume you've heard of it. If you watch me, you know true crime. I'm going to show a little clip from Court TV. We love Court TV, and I love, what's that guy's name? Vince Trenudo or something. He's a good-looking dude. So she told her mother she was having back pain. Her mother brought her to the ED, ER. You guys call it ER. But if you're sick all the time, the way I was many years ago, it's an ED. It's an emergency department. Her mother brought her to the ED complaining of back pain. Okay, now meanwhile, the girl had gained much weight. She was a small girl, or still is, not was. She's not dead. 5 feet tall. She was a cheerleader, and she had an obvious baby bump. And it wasn't a moon bump that fell to her feet the way Harry's wife. I mean, that all happened. I'm going to show you this video. I will do this. However, she's running. So I've had a few children. I had them all in the hospital. She's running to the bathroom, holding her bottom. And I'm not trying to be gross, but, you know, just right below or in front of that is where the baby comes out. She felt the baby coming out. And yet, rather than ringing the nurse bell or looking at her mother was right there in the room, she went to the bathroom. She spent 19 minutes in the bathroom. She gave birth to this child. And then she put the child in, oh, no. She took the liner out of the trash can. And most places, they have all the other liners in the bottom so that the housekeeping staff, you know, can pull the dirty liner right out and just pick a new one up. They don't have to carry them around with them. And I actually do the same thing. Here, my little trash can right here. That's the liners in the bottom. When I fill it, you know, I empty that one, I just put a new one in it. She grabbed a new liner, wrapped the baby up, put it on top of the trash, and then took another new liner and put it on top, so that if someone just walked in, it would appear that the trash can were empty. However, if or when you give birth, you do happen to bleed. And there was blood everywhere. I mean, everywhere. The housekeeper who found the child, who I'll tell you about in a moment, said the blood was on the walls. I mean, it was everywhere. And it appeared that Lexi tried to clean it up. But you're 19. Okay, let me show you this video. And I do speak during it. And I will be right back. And please don't leave. If you're still watching even right now, hit like, hit subscribe, hook me up. Come on. Okay, here's the video of this little wench. And thank you, Court TV.
Lexi, I told you about this.
Okay, her mother knew. Lexi, I told you about this. Okay, well, granted, this girl's a 19-year-old senior, and I was a 17-year-old senior. But my mother never said to me, I told you about this. My parents spoke to me about premarital relations and things. And, you know, the realities of abortion. However, this doesn't make sense to me. Lexi, I told you about this, which means Mom went to Lexi, she's calling her Lexi, and saying, why are you gaining so much weight? Are you sure you're not pregnant? And again, I've already said this, but Lexi knew for a fact And Lexi told the hospital she was a virgin. Okay, well, the hymen, they knew she was lying. Mom knew. Mom absolutely knew. Watch Mom.
I just asked you, baby, to tell me the truth.
I just asked you to tell me the truth. So, this little, I don't really even want to, I don't know what to call her. I do not consider her a woman, only because a woman would not do this. Well, she's a psychopath. But Mom saw her in the cheerleading costume, and she was pregnant. Totally pregnant.
Was not crying or nothing.
I'm sorry about this, but in terms of delivering a baby and it looked like you tried to hide it, we do have to have the police involved.
Okay, this only happened this year. Why does that dumb doctor have a mask around her face? Oh my goodness. Did she not follow the science?
Nothing was crying. It came out with nothing.
She called it it. It came out with nothing. It is a baby. So it just shows you how, what is it, uncompassionate? I don't even know what word to say. It came out with nothing. It's a baby.
Do you guys have, I'm the charge nurse here. Do you guys have any questions for me?
Like, how big is the baby?
It's full term.
What? 9 months?
Oh, Mom, you knew.
Lexi, have you watched the news of the girls that what they do to their babies and what they go to jail?
Oh, this is Mom protecting herself. Okay, I'm stopping. So I'm not cool enough to have a script rolling in front of me. I still must use my notes. And yes, I have a cool green notebook. They were a little cheaper for whatever reason. However, she's 5 foot. She had a small frame. And she was a cheerleader. Oh, I told you I would find out how many people were in this town. So I lied. I'm not going to find out. I believe I read previously it was a town of 1,000 or something. It was very small. Similar to my parents' town, Malta, Ohio. And, you drive 45 minutes to the hospital. These small towns. Where I live right now, you guys know I live just outside of Washington, D.C., I have probably 4 major hospitals within 10 minutes. It's completely different when you live here. But also remember, the government takes care of their own. So that's why we have more hospitals. Her cheerleading, I mean, it's crystal clear she's pregnant. I gave birth to twins. I gained 28 pounds. I'm 5'8". So, I mean, I had a very, very, my belly was right there. Part of the reason I had an issue with people saying that Harry's wife, I probably have cat hair in my nose again. When at first they were saying, no, it's fake, it's fake. Part of the reason I wasn't sure was because I was able to squat. I could wear high heels and squat. But Harry's wife, I believe, is 5'5". That's 3 inches. Well, 3 inches is a lot. And if you actually look at her frame, she doesn't really have a waist. So it's a little different. Where I am a little more hourglass. Now, I'm a very skinny, scrawny hourglass. After I watched the moon bump things. Look, I'm talking about Prince Harry's wife. Goodness. Okay. So, this girl, no, she's a woman. She's 19. She's legally an adult. Spends 19 minutes in the bathroom. Her mother goes, knocks on the door, and they won't do it. She will not open it. The hospital staff finally comes at 19 minutes and tells her, we're getting the emergency key. We're coming in. So now she's screwed. I mean, I'm sorry, that's not really a nice word. But now she's in a situation, there's nothing she can do. I assume she had already put this child, wrapped him in the bag, put the newer liner on top. Okay, so to me, right there, that's guilt. She claimed she didn't know she was pregnant. She told the doctor she was a virgin. She told her mother she was a virgin. I guarantee you she hadn't had her period. My mother actually had her period for 4 months with me. And so when it stopped, they went to a doctor. At 6 months, my mother went, they told her, you're pregnant. So there are women who still have a menstrual cycle during a period, but you don't ever have it up to 9 months. Do your own little research. 4 to 5 months is the average that an egg can still stay on one side of the uterus. Oh, I'm not trying to be gross. And grow while you still shed your flow. I haven't had to purchase tampons in a couple years, and oh my goodness, that's nice. She knew she was pregnant. She wouldn't have lied and said, I'm a virgin. They're going to look at her hymen. So she's ignorant. But I'm sorry, if you're in a small town, you maybe, I don't know, the wherewithal is the right word. Maybe you were a little more naive, but you're not that naive. She had not had her period in months. And she did tell the doctor she was a virgin. And she knew factually she was not. And on a total different side note, the boyfriend claims to have known nothing and they were still dating. I'm sure, I don't think he was lying. His mother or his father went in with him to the interview. But, dude, the boyfriend's 18. Aren't you looking at her and saying, why are you getting this little growth? Say hi. Why are you getting this growth on your tummy? I don't discredit the boyfriend as much because dudes, they don't understand that. And I guarantee he asked her questions. She was like, oh, no, honey. You know, we can't be together this week because I'm having my period. When she wasn't. She flat out lied. The ER. If you have a medical background, you call it the ED. It's the emergency department. While I do not have a educational medical background, I definitely have a physical medical background. They gave her morphine. They didn't give her enough morphine that would have hurt that child. The emergency department knew the moment she ran into that bathroom holding her butt, and that's one of my photos in my little thumbnail, the ED had known for 45 minutes she was pregnant. Well, at least the results had gone to the nurse's station. Now, that doesn't mean the nurse has read them yet. But I almost find that hard to believe in a little small town. Oh my goodness, it's so hot here. You know, this global warming killing me. I find it hard to believe. I'm going to use the potato chip clip to try to put my hair up. I almost find it hard to believe they all didn't know. I think they were, looking for the doctor. And I say it in the video, the doctor's wearing a mask. Did she do no scientific research? So they had given her morphine. Now, the one thing I will say, because the defense's entire argument is going to be the morphine killed the baby. Well, they gave her the morphine long before they gave her the morphine probably at the identical time they gave her the pregnancy test. Okay, so, however, they gave her an amount of morphine that had she given birth and breastfed the next morning, the morphine would not have hurt the child. So it was enough of an amount, and there is a medical term for that. I heard it a couple of times. I don't remember what it is. But that morphine would not have killed the child. You see in the video, she goes, it. Why is she calling it it? It's a baby. I just call it it. He's a baby. My goodness. For real? Oh, let me tell you one more thing. Men cannot breastfeed. I may make a few of you angry with this, but our Secretary of Transportation, we've had, I think, 31 train crashes in the past 20 months? Well, he took 2.5 months off so he could breastfeed. Men cannot breastfeed. Remember, I have a daughter with a penis. He will never breastfeed, and he acknowledges that as well. So they do a blood analysis on this girl, this woman, this felon. She had morphine from the hospital. One other thing, which I do not remember, but it wasn't significant. And then she had a diet pill called Fena something. Okay, well, 30 years ago, there was a thing called Fen-Phen, and it was 2 different drugs. One started the PHEN, the other was FEN. And I had friends who took it. And one of my very best friends, who I'm still good friends with today, I mean, my goodness, she dropped 60 pounds in a month. It was crazy. And then women started dropping dead. And so my girlfriend went off of it. My girlfriend's still beautiful. But she was on a diet drug that I've read and it's a prescription drug. However, it's very easy to buy it online. You don't have to go to the dark web, which I don't even know how to get to the dark web. I'm lucky to be on the light web. But it was very easily accessible. So I'm thinking that, some of her friends were saying, Lexi, you're getting chubby. How about try this? Lexi knew exactly why she was getting chubby. Okay, so now, I don't know how many of you have had a baby. If you've ever had a child, hit like, plus it helps my video. Oh, hit subscribe if you're watching. But the umbilical cord was ripped off. That is difficult. Very, very difficult. My first birth, childbirth, and this is the child who has a penis, but we now call her a girl because I have to play the game. She knows exactly how I feel, and I adore her. My husband, the doctor gave my husband the scissors, and I'll say, Frank, it was tough. It was very tough. And I'm actually lying there, and I said, hell, let me try. And I couldn't even get the scissors through 1/8 of an inch. That's how tough the umbilical cord was. And I will say my second husband, which went, chop, 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 chop. He had no problem, but she ripped that umbilical cord off. And I'm sure she was just pumped with adrenaline. Adrenaline gives you amazing strength. There's people who have car accidents and there's a person lying under the car and their adrenaline gives them the strength to lift that 3,000-pound car right off. If you're having that much adrenaline where you can rip an umbilical cord, plus it had to hurt her some as well. That's not good adrenaline. That's, oh my goodness, this mess is finally over. I've dealt with this for 6 months. I'm going to guess she was probably 2 or 3 months pregnant when she figured it out. And she went, oh, thank goodness, it's over. She ripped that umbilical cord off. I'm going to shut this down with my very last thing. You saw this in the video, and I mentioned it in the video. Her mother knew. Her mother, if you pay attention, her mother said, Lexi, I talked to you about this. Well, I've already said it. My mother never talked to me about this, about girls that get rid of their children, and that's what she said. Mom knew. And I half wonder if Mom played an entire game that night. I'm not joking. Mom didn't want to be, yeah. Mom knew. And the only issue that I have with Mom maybe not knowing is I think if Mom really did know, she drove this girl to the hospital. She would have walked in and said, "My daughter's pregnant. She's having back pain." But maybe Mom is a little bit of a psychopath as well. Okay. Thank you for still watching. If you are, obviously, I'm shocked. Hit like, hit subscribe. God bless you. And oh my goodness, God bless this America.